Intellectually engaging to think outside the lines with conversation about the nation that never leaves you blind. Take a listen and pay attention. Here is where you find the educational, sensational meeting of the minds. Yeah, it's the meeting of the minds. Meeting of the minds.
You are watching Meeting of the Minds, and I am Selah V. I'm here with good friends, Jay Gamble. How are you?
I'm doing
good.
Thank
you so much for joining us. I appreciate it.
Yes.
We got CJ Higgins in the house. Thank you so much for being here.
Hello, I'm pretty good.
All right, good. And Nichelle Belcher with us.
Hey.
Welcome. So I first would like to say, hanging out with these guys, that the views of our guests are not necessarily the views. I'm just kidding. They're all right. I'm just trying to get in the habit of saying the views of our guests are not necessarily the views of Meeting of the Minds, because we're getting exceedingly more and more controversial as we keep going. So I need to let people know that sometimes my views aren't even the views of Meeting of the Minds. How do you love that? Because Meeting of the Minds is a place where people should feel free to express themselves, whatever it be, and feel like they're being heard. So today's topic is loneliness. And the reason why I chose this topic is because I really feel like people are lonely. And I feel like it's an epidemic. I feel from old to young, people are feeling loneliness. I even feel people in relationships are feeling loneliness.
Yeah.
So I want us to dig really deep into this topic, because it was really, really heavy on my heart to talk about. I experience loneliness. And so this is probably going to be a very, what is it called? Transparent conversation. Yeah. Which usually sometimes can be a difficult conversation to have, but we'll see, where it goes. So quickly kind of going around the table, do you consider yourself lonely?
No.
No. Okay. Do you consider yourself lonely?
Not normally, not usually, no.
Okay. Do you consider yourself lonely?
No, I don't.
Okay. All right. So, I would say this is a difficult one for me, because sometimes I don't and sometimes I do, especially depending on where in the woman's cycle we are. I'm just being real. Because, like, the closer we approach it, all of a sudden, I don't know what happens, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so alone.
Y'all become transformers.
And then right afterwards, I don't care at all again. I'm
so
good.
true.
I'm like, back to normal, guys.
She's like, I'm good.
But like literally a day or two before, the way that I know that I'm about to is because I'm having a breakdown, because nobody loves me. I'm so alone.
Yeah. You see the commercial with the Sarah McLachlan, you see the puppies.
Not with the puppies.
With the puppies.
I'm telling you, but right when it's over, it's like I'm like a decent human being again.
Yeah.
So I literally have my moments. So you don't feel like you're lonely?
I don't feel like I'm lonely. I do feel like I have moments of loneliness. Sometimes when it's like, was it like just last week I had a wisdom tooth removed. And I mean, I'm fine, but it was just one of those moments where I'm like, I'm really in a lot of pain, and I wish I had somebody here to just kind of like, console me, or just like, oh, you need anything, or versus me, like, I have to trek all the way down to 13 flights of stairs and then go get me some, get myself something. So it's in like certain moments I have loneliness, but overall, I don't consider myself feeling lonely, just because I'm surrounded. I have, my entire family's here. I have friends or associates, whatever you want to call them. So I don't see myself as being a lonely person.
Before we started, Chris, you were kind of sharing with us that you think you're a very introverted person.
Yeah.
So how do introverted people experience loneliness?
I mean, it's really just on like my take, 'cause like everyone's different. Just like, I guess the way that I grew up or something, or maybe because my brother went away for college for a year, so I lived my parents for like a whole year, but like by myself, kind of learned how to just like be alone, I guess.
Yeah. So you're used to like having your brother there and family there.
Yeah, I always have like my family is always close by. Like always have like a support system, always there. But like I don't think I've ever felt like actual like loneliness really. I don't know. It's hard to like,
It's hard to with the Higgins. Like your family, his family is amazing. Every single last one of them. I love them. They're like, they support me so much. Like when people are like wilding out and they're like, "What is Selah doing?" His families are like, "Right on, keep going, Selah." I love it. His mom, his dad, everyone. They support me, and I'm just so thankful for them. So I could see how you just feel so supported, and I'm sure that they've deeply and rooted in you that you're not alone. So
yeah, I mean, but I definitely have felt like sadness or depression, or I do deal with like anxiety a lot. Like I see a therapist like once a week, and I've been like seeing her for like 2 years now. So like I'm always dealing with my like emotions and anxiety and all that. But like I'm not probably just, I think it's just might be like loneliness might be something I just really haven't really felt.
Yeah.
Versus like someone else who might have.
Thank you for sharing about seeing a counselor. I'm a firm believer that everyone should be seeing a counselor. I see a counselor. Matter of fact, I got 2 counselors. I got one for trying to raise my goddaughter and one for like myself. And I really am a huge advocate. And so that really means a lot that you would share that. So thank you for that. And before I move to Jay, so romantically, does romantic loneliness, is it different romantic loneliness than family, or your family kind of feels that so you wouldn't feel that? Does that make sense? If I'm trying to.
Yeah, I think like romantic loneliness can definitely happen, or like I would say that's probably something I've experienced. Like recently, like you can be like in a relationship, but not if you don't feel like loved by someone, or then that can be like a level of loneliness. Not so much like oh, I'm so alone, but you don't feel that connection. So that's kind of like a level of loneliness almost.
For sure. Okay, put a bookmark in that. So you're just not lonely then.
Well, for me, technically, I'm not lonely because I have my son. I've had him for the last 2 years. So when he's away, I feel like just a part of me is gone right now. Like it's hard to focus and hard to be like, well, what am I going to do today? What am I going to do with myself without him here?
Right.
Because he keeps me on my toes, he keeps me on my feet. So when it comes to loneliness, I'm just I'm in my own world, because I'm sitting up there and I'm just like every other person that either don't have their boo or whatever. They just sitting back and they're just sitting there chilling. Like, I wish I had just had somebody else to kind of fill that void. Kind of like what you were asking CJ about, romantically, anybody can feel alone. Yes, you can feel alone in a relationship if that person is not, loving you or showing you the attention that you feel like you deserve, or, that you need. So you can feel lonely no matter what. And shoot, I know I need to see some help. And I've been trying to seek help, and our bishop, we go to the same church. That's my help. That's my my counselor, because I could be talking about something with somebody else and he's on it come Thursday. I'm like, I was just talking about this.
That's so real.
And it's just, and it's confirmation. It's not just a one-time confirmation. It's like every time.
I got you.
From here on out, it's like, yeah.
I'm telling you, our church, Nichelle, it's probably saved me like $3,000 on therapy.
And it's not on her car insurance.
Yeah, no, but I'm talking about the major stuff, like the major stuff. He's on point.
That's
with
how
it.
you know you're at the right place.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, indeed.
I agree with you on that one.
But I do.
Shout out to Bishop L.A. Wilkerson, by the way.
yeah, Bishop. And I do at times feel that loneliness though, and so I feel like when I am in that mode, I'm either writing, or I'm out with my brother, or out with somebody trying to just keep my mind off of things, and you can do it that way too.
Well, I have so like I noticed with my goddaughter being around, it helped a lot, because like I have someone I can go to dinner with. If I want to go catch the Latin movie, it's all good now. Because I really had a hard time going by myself. I tried one time to go and I got up and like left. I tried to go to the movie by myself.
Oh, I love
What?
that
Well,
movie.
good for y'all.
That's how you do it. You're
I
supposed
don't
to
even
do
know
it.
how. I don't
Go
even
early
know.
in the
I'm just
morning.
gonna
Look,
go.
Exactly.
Early in
exactly.
the morning.
That's my time. I'm like, when's the first movie? 9? Okay, I'm there at 9.
I'll
there
try
at
it
9.
again. I'll try it again. But since my goddaughter is with me, I have so many excuses to go do so many different things, except outdoor stuff. I love outdoor stuff on my own. But bringing even her then makes me feel like that's my homie, right? But
That's
still,
your rider.
there's like a loneliness that's still like, you know, I mean, we all say, I'm not lonely. I have Jesus. I'm not lonely. I'm not lonely. I have my family. I'm not lonely, you know. But they're not like gonna be like rubbing on your booty.
No.
So
That's
like,
true.
You know, there's a big difference there still.
It is a big
Okay,
difference.
so then let's get into that then too.
Yes.
You know,
Shall we?
personally, I feel like, you know, we all want that significant other. And Mr. Dudley, he was on here the last time, and he was talking about
Shout
y'all
out
kind
to
of jumped
Rita.
into love languages, and with love languages, like if you know yours, and you know, like take for instance mine. Mine is quality time. It changes. Like sometimes as you grow up in age and just in life period, you know, it can go from, because the 5 love languages are words of affirmation, acts of service, quality time, physical touch, and gifts. So it changes, and it changed for me because for so long mine was acts of service. For so long, just being able to do for others and so forth. So, you know, if you and your mate speak each other's love languages, I feel like that's a good way of communication. Like it helps a whole heck of a lot to just be like, okay, you know, I know how to talk to you. You know what I'm saying? Like some people
What
have.
if you ain't got no boo thing to talk to? You ain't got no
Sometime-
love language to talk about.
Sometimes that's, you know, you can talk to your best friend about that. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't have to be like, okay, like say you and Michelle are talking about love languages to each other and you're all speaking each other's love
Right.
languages. She understands
Yeah.
where you're coming from. Whereas if CJ and Michelle are talking about love language and they're talking about it to each other,
Yeah.
they know how to, you know, communicate and talk. You know, so it's just it's a big thing, and I think everybody should take that quiz to figure out what it is, because we're so, I don't know what
But
this
you-
generation of dating
Yeah.
is.
OMG.
This generation of dating is
Pull out my
is-
list.
look, this generation of dating, I don't know what they're doing, because at the end of the day, it's either if you don't have this and you don't have this, we're not talking. If, you know, there's no courting anymore.
If you don't have this or this, like what are the
Meaning, I'm sorry, the A, B, and C is, you know, if you don't have a good job, you don't have no car, you don't live by yourself. That's the main one. That's why I put that one in the middle. If you don't have any of these things, then you don't stand a chance. And that's for men trying to go after the woman that they have their eye on.
And so
Yeah.
do you think that like there's something wrong with that? Like no, I'm just kidding.
I don't think there's anything wrong with it, but it's kind of like, okay, what about the loyalty? What about the love? What about the
sure.
trust? What about the
Absolutely.
honesty?
Yeah.
I think that gets overlooked by a lot of that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because you're pretty much putting a good person, a good man or a good woman in the trash because they don't meet your expectations and your standards. So if they don't meet your expectations and your standards, then you're just like, no. And then here you are, you're settling for trash because you feel like, okay, well, I'm used to that. I know what that feels like, so we're good.
Yeah.
You know, and
But
nothing else matters.
What if like people? I know I talk to a lot of my girlfriends, so it's almost like, look, if I'm educated, I want somebody to bring their educated selves to the table. If I am good looking, I want maybe somebody good looking as well. So they're like, if I'm bringing, why can I not expect the same thing from, you know, this is how they think. I'm not saying I necessarily, because I think what's good looking changes. Actually, you'd be surprised what I find good looking. Most people do. So no, really, they do. They're
I was almost gonna ask her what is one of those things.
No, really,
What
I
are
have
those
people who
things?
are like, okay, because my interpretation of what's good looking is kind of different than standard thing. But anyways, I digress.
I thought she was gonna tell me.
Yeah.
What she's saying is she doesn't have a type.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like to
Yeah.
me. I'm
So
glad you
it
caught
And
that.
also, like, there's a way of telling something. Like, a guy can have no job or be like in between jobs, and you can tell like what he's got in him. You can kind of tell if like this is what he settled for. This is like where this is all he's ever gonna be, or you can tell like he's like, yo, this is like, you can tell like when they're like they got hungry, or like this is just a stepping stone, or you know. So that's a huge big deal too. Like, is this where are they comfortable here? Is this enough for them? You know.
Yeah, that's true, but also, you know, I have a lot of female friends that always feel like dude has to do everything, literally. Like they can just sit back and do nothing.
I don't know about that.
Like,
I don't know about that either.
my thing is this, and I was put in a group one time, and it was on social media or whatever, and a woman in the group asked, she said, fellas, what is one thing that, you know, that we as women could do differently in a relationship with you? And I said, put forth the same effort that you would want that man to put into you. Because sometimes, you know, a lot of women don't feel like they have to do anything in that relationship. They don't have to set up no date nights. They don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
And it can be kind of like, okay, the dude sitting up there just like, now he may not mind, but I know in the back of his mind, he's probably thinking, well, dang, you know, and I hear a lot about that. I hear, you know, all about, you know, men don't want to commit in relationships. Men don't want to do this. Men don't want to do that. But where's the effort on we want that good morning text too. We want to know that we're on your mind too. So
Yeah, look at your face. Look at
It's like over here just boiling. I'm like,
I wanted to say it.
jump in.
Say it.
so my experience is on the opposite end of that. So I'm always the one that puts in all the effort. I'm the one that's like, hey, let's go here. Hey, let's do this. I know what I find out everything that he likes, so I make sure I'm doing that for him. A good example is I dated a guy for 4 years, and he's the type of person, he's very like spontaneous. But he doesn't plan anything, and I'm a planner. So he decided, he was just like, hey, let's just move in together. And I'm like, are you sure? I'm like, we've only spent, the longest time we spent together is like a day and a half. And I was like, we're going to be living together. I mean, you're going to see me every morning, you know. And he was like, yeah. And I was like, okay, well, let's talk about everything first. So we spent a whole day talking about everything. And then we moved in together. And he was like, and then he had the nerve to say, and when we were talking, he was like, well, women get complacent and, you know, they're so used to doing this. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to be complacent, because this is the first time I'm living with you. And I'm going to see you every day, and you have kids and you get your kids every other weekend. So I'm going to have to get used to that. So we move in. I'm excited. This is a brand new journey. I'm like making sure we have a home. I furnish everything in that apartment I brought. He only brought like fitness equipment, you know, but I'm like, okay, I know he gets his kids this week, so I need to get off early. We're going to plan events like take his kids to. We ain't got that much money, but we're going to do something that's maybe free, but it's going to be fun. And for him, it was just like, no. Like, he didn't like any of that. I made him dinner. I found out what his love language was. I told him, hey, my love language is quality time. I don't care what we're doing together. I don't care if we're just sitting here staring at each other for an hour. I enjoy being in your presence. I enjoy my time. And I feel like my time is the most valuable thing. So I'm not going to waste my time doing something that I don't enjoy, because you can lose money and you can lose it all. I've lost it all. But your time you cannot get back. Once it's gone, it's gone. So I value my time. But I'm on the opposite end of that. I put forth the effort. I do the calls. I find out what they like. I send little cards. I send flowers. I do all that stuff. And I get ghosted.
Need
They're
more
just
women
like,
like you.
I get
We need
ghosted.
more women
They're
like
just like,
you.
they don't call, they don't text. They're just like,
Oh,
I'm
my.
like, hey, like, are you alive over there? How you doing? You good? Did I do something? And I'm a big person. I'm like,
Communication.
communicate with me. I'm the type of
Communication is big.
person that's like, If I ask you, did these jeans make me look fat? I want you to tell me, yes, girl, them jeans make you look fat. I'll be like, okay, I'll be right back. Let me go change. Like, but don't don't communicate
don't
with
say
me,
nothing,
you know?
nothing.
And that's what bothers
I know
me.
people
See,
might be asking
I can
like
respect
why.
that. Go ahead, girl.
I know maybe someone that's watching is like, okay, y'all are going left on the conversation, but I've done this intentionally because I swear that this contributes to loneliness.
Yes, it does. It does, because everything runs through your mind at that time.
And it's interesting the way that it's going. I'm kind of dumbfounded because I just like, I don't know, like, it's like, whoa.
She's like, hold up.
What are you thinking?
Yeah, I think it's like really interesting seeing like both sides of the spectrum, really kind of like both
Yeah.
extremities. Because like I feel like for me that I would almost come off as like too strong, almost like from you maybe, but you might not see that or
You think
or-
she's coming on too strong, maybe?
like maybe not like in a bad way, but like I don't know, maybe just because you're a very like you seem like a kind person, maybe that you just want them to like to say like, hey, I'm fine or whatever, or I don't know like what your other experience is, because I also have a son who's gonna be like 3 in August, and also like going back to that, I do feel like sometimes I do like a piece of me is gone, like whenever like going back to his mom or whatever. He's like, and right now he's kind of in this point where he's gets excited to say like see me, so it makes me like really happy, and like, he says like daddy a lot, and I don't know, just like being a parent's like a whole nother life thing.
Yeah. So that's where you get your fulfillment and joy from, and so when he goes away, you feel that loneliness. I mean loneliness, but like you feel it when he's gone.
It's just the empty piece, because
Yeah.
you're like, ooh, like I'm waiting. I try to wait for my son to come home. You know, he was with his mama for a little bit, so I'm over here waiting for him to come home so we can go see the X-Men movie. I'm like, shoot, I'm trying to wait on you, bruh.
Yeah.
You know, because those are the things that me and him do. We go see those Marvel movies, those DC movies, because that's what he likes.
Yeah.
You know, and yeah, everything that we're talking about is like way off of the subject of
But
loneliness.
no, but that's fine.
It goes
it's
into it
perfect.
because
Everything, I'm about to connect all the dots.
because
okay?
it's like, you know, we all feel the loneliness because we always wish that we had somebody, like other than the family that's there to support us, or the best friend that's there to support us. We want that person that we like have a relationship with to be there too, to kind of fill that void.
Yeah.
You know, so
Well, we got a lot of paths that are laid before us right now. Like there's paths going everywhere, right? My mind maps things a certain way. But I want to still go back to what you said about Nichelle.
yeah, she was going there. She was on there.
So
I like that.
you wouldn't have thought she was coming on too strong.
No, to be honest with you, it's rare to find another woman that does those things.
I'm gonna
I'm only saying that because maybe I haven't seen it come from nobody.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I'm always the giver. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like,
Well,
so
I
to
think-
hear
I'm
her
sorry.
say, to hear her say, you know, she was planning this and doing this. It's like, what? Can we make some copies? You know, take a copy and
But
say,
I
oh.
will say, because I've had a guy tell me that before. It's like, well, you're more like a dude, or you're too strong, and I'm like, so do I need to be weak?
That's like telling somebody not to love hard.
Yeah, and I love hard, and I told him, I was like, well, I need you to understand my background. I was like, my father was in the military, his dad was in the military, so I was a military brat. So I've lived around the world basically, and then I'm the oldest in my family, and I was the only child for 6 years. So my dad realized, okay, I don't have any boys, I only have 2 girls. So he's like, I need to raise you to be independent. He's like, because there may not be a man there for you who's going to take care of you like I'm doing. So I need you to know how to fix your car, to fix this, to take care of this, to do this, you know. So I'm independent, and I'm like, and that's why I told one guy, he was just like, well, I just think you're too picky or something like that. Or he said, well, you act like you don't need me. And I'm like, well, I don't. You know, I'm like, having you is great. Having you is an added bonus to my life, and there's certain things that I would not have to do. You can do it, but I don't need you.
So somewhere in between here, there's like two comments that are floating for me. But one thing is that, see, we say like we want everything to kind of be equal in one vein, right? Like but then at the same time we say the man should be the leader or should be the head, right? So for me, in the beginning, like I'm letting the man lead. Like you set the precedent. Like you he has to do a lot of initiation in the beginning. Like I'm not even gonna front on it.
I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that
but
at all.
I'm not gonna like
I'm
reach
saying,
out and stuff like that. I don't know why. I don't know if I'm wrong. It's not innate in me. It's not there for me to do it. There has to be some kind of level of you're leading, you're setting the tempo. If you hit me up on Thursday and then I don't hear from you again until Monday, you set that precedent. And I'm like a mirror. I kind of like mirror everything the person does. Yeah. Like, you know, you do it, I do. But here's the thing. The other thing is that, like you said, you mirror the things that the guy that you might really like does.
Yes.
But whenever a guy that you might not like very much, you kind of fall back. But here's the thing. It might be because of the things that you mentioned. So we need to kind of go back to those things. Do you remember when he was like, if they don't...
Oh, yeah, they don't have A, B, and C.
So it's funny, like, okay, if I'm looking at the job, let's say I find out that they have a job that's not more than like, it's not something that's like, okay, you know, like, well, that's what it is, right? It's still okay, but now you got to fall back and see like, is that where you're happy at? You know, you don't want to pursue nothing and get nothing going until you know, like, are you hungry or is this good for you, right? So that's another thing that you're watching for. The other thing, like, it doesn't bother me if somebody lives with their family in this generation because things are crazy out here.
Struggle real.
Like, and ladies, y'all need to stop tripping. Like, even like in Hebrew Israelites, people live with their family till 30s and then they left with their families.
I'm in my 30s right now, living with my family, so.
I mean, come on now, you're living in a time where sometimes people have to have 2 jobs just to survive, especially in the city that we're at right here. Right? So I think it's a smart move to live with family. And if you
save up that money.
Yeah, and a lot of cultures when they come from other places, they stay together until they get their paper right. And I don't think that people should, I don't think that should be a taboo thing. I think it's actually a very, very smart thing and can help somebody advance. But somebody might not want to live with their mama just because of that stupid taboo, and then that lacks the progression. So I even want to put it out there that if you meet a man that is living with his family, do not down him. That could be like the best thing, actually, if we don't look down upon it. That could be the thing to help them stack their chips and start a business. Who knows, you know?
But sometimes that can be an issue too, because the first thing that you're saying, ladies, don't down the man for that, but then you'll have one strong woman say, you know, well, we don't struggle. Okay, so what I'm hearing is that there's never been a woman struggle at all, is what I get from when people say that. Because I'm like, okay, like, if you think about it, it's like, okay, here, there's Section 8, there's TANF, there's all these little things that people get into now. And I'm like, don't act like you never struggled.
And if they haven't, just for saying that, struggle is about to come. It will be coming a knock-in.
Because I think everybody goes through it. Everybody deals with, if it's not a huge struggle, it's some sort of struggle. And you can't say that you're not struggling because you might have been able to get your kids these Jordans and you might have got a pair for yourself and a pair for your husband too. Okay, that's great. But that don't mean you're not struggling either. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I can get what you're saying, you know, telling, you know, the ladies not to down a man for living at home or something like that, because everybody goes through their own struggles at some point.
If it's not a struggle, if you're not married, shoot, and maybe if the kid, I mean, it could be a player decision, like it'd be a pimp decision as well.
be like the house is in my name anyway, so.
You know, I mean, a lot of cultures will come together in one apartment, 10 people in one apartment, nobody's looking down on that, and then they get to where they need to be, and you know. So I just don't, I encourage somebody instead when I find out about that, to let them know that it's okay and that's good. But I'm not going to lie about the one that you said, like if I find out, like, you know, he works at the car wash, No, because that can be respected too.
Yeah.
It can be. I'd be like, hey, come on.
He could be like, look, this is my life plan. I'm not getting a job right now, so I'm at the car wash. You can see it. You'd be
But
like,
I tell you right now, I'd be like, shoot, at least you know your car clean everything. You can't never say I don't never clean your car ain't got gas in it. Whatever the case may be, you know your car washed. You ain't
But on
going
that note,
nowhere.
because like I will agree with that. Like my ex I was saying before. So he was a personal trainer, and he did like fitness competitions and stuff like that. But he didn't have a certification because he failed the test. He knew all the stuff, he just didn't have the certification. And so I only got with him because I was like, well, he can help me lose weight. I'm gonna look good. But we didn't even work out and like work out together and stuff. But what my thinking was, I was like, okay, well, how can I help you get better? And I was like, well, what areas were you struggling with when you were taking the test? And he was like, well, parts of the anatomy. I was like, okay, well then let's study together. And then I was thinking, well, if this is where you're going, because at that time I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do with my life. So I was like, well, he's into fitness, so maybe I should get into fitness too. And then I came up with a business plan. I was like, hey, what is the main reason why people say they can't work out? They don't have time. Why? They got to find somebody to watch their kids, or they got to put their kids somewhere because they ain't got time to come to the gym or whatever. I was like, so I'm great with kids. I have a background working with children for 11 years. So let's do this. You take care of the parents while they're working out. I'll take care of the kids, and we'll do something active. They think they're just playing, but they're not. It's active. And then we have where the whole family is getting fit and working out.
girl, you got that copywritten yet?
For real.
I did put that on there. That was
All right,
mine.
She's like, I did that.
Well, hopefully somebody's listening that wants to
You
put
know?
some money
Yeah.
behind what you just said.
But I
in
was
the
but I was like trying to like help him, and I'm like, let's do this together. I'm trying to build him up because I realized, okay, well, you're not where you want to be right now financially.
Yeah.
I'm not where I'm at, but let's kind of collab. Let's see what we can do together, and then we build together. And
I'm like,
It's funny.
yeah, that's cute.
Hold on, don't do it, don't do it, because I'm about to piggyback.
Good,
Don't do it.
Good.
So, because she's saying building together, and that just brings up like everything. Like, I feel like if you're going to be in a relationship, you're a team. Once you say we are together, then you're a team from there. You know what I'm saying? I think there's a lack of encouragement sometimes on both sides. Sometimes the man's not encouraging enough, supporting his woman enough. Right. Sometimes there's a woman not supporting her man enough, not encouraging to be like, dude, pick your head up and let's do this. Let's build on this. Everybody in this generation, they watch so much, I call it ratchet TV, like the Atlanta Housewives and all that stuff, and they see all the money,
Right.
they see the parties, they see all the fun of it, but they don't know nothing about what these people go through off that camera. They don't know if they're struggling with little things like depression in their relationship. They're unhappy behind the camera.
Yeah.
You see a lot of them divorcing when they get to that reunion. They're like, yeah, I filed for divorce 6 months ago.
So do you think media is setting unrealistic standards for people?
People paint the picture for social media. Like I spoke on it on the live feed one time, and I said, okay, look, a lot of people that I know that are in relationships, they paint that perfect picture for social media, taking the selfie pictures and stuff like that together. But then it's like, okay, they're like, okay, now what are you doing behind the camera? What's happening? Like,
that's real.
That's real. What's happening when you're not taking all these pictures? I'm sure y'all argue, sorry you fight. That's just the life of a relationship, and that's where people can feel lonely, because it's like, you can feel lonely just being next to the person. You're like, dang, well, what are we doing?
Oh, pause that, because we're gonna dig into that. That's a topic that I want to keep all the way over there for a minute, because I want remember this. Hopefully, we'll get into it. I want to talk about how like you could pour all your love on somebody and it's not enough. Like you just keep loving and loving, and it's like a black hole. But pause on that. Hopefully, you can remind us to bring us back, because there was another thing that you said is, do you think that media is causing us to like people out of our league, or like because we see these images, like you could be like looking like an ogre and you're like, oh, I want a supermodel, right? Because like that's what you're thinking. Or you can be a woman who like thinks that everybody's gonna have super bread to the max. Do you think that media is doing that?
Maybe like a little bit, maybe not maybe like for like the younger generation, maybe, or for like teenagers, maybe. I mean, like I feel like we're all like in our like 30s, or I'm 30, 31. So like we've kind of like we've seen like the transition from before the internet like to the internet now. So
Right,
we've seen that whole like technology like basically change the world really. So like I don't know like what teens are doing like these days on social media, or like because you always hear about like people like posting selfies or like nudes getting leaked or like stuff, all this like crazy stuff, or they
Things that we didn't experience at all.
yeah, or like the media only focus on like one thing when really there's a bunch of other stories that you don't even hear about or see, or like other terrible things that like might happen or could happen that you don't even like hear about. Or
So totally unrealistic life, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So that can contribute to another loneliness. There could be like back in the day, like he's saying, you know, if you didn't have social media and things like that, and you didn't have internets and phones, like the nearest person near you, the farm up the street got a son, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And you know, he ain't looking so shabby now, right? And so now like the world being open to us so much, like there's so much to choose from. And then we're having these images that say that they gotta look like this, and they gotta do like this, and they gotta act like this, and it might not be realistic. Like, how many women are gonna get a multimillionaire? How many men are gonna get a supermodel? Like, how many, like, there's so many different things that we might be, and then like sometimes they're not even looking at themselves. Like I've seen guys on social media that look like Freddy Krueger, and they're like literally judging another woman based on, oh, she don't have enough. I'm like, really?
She ain't got this, she ain't got that. I'm like, who are you to tell?
So that might really be setting some unrealistic.
Or another thing I do is like, speaking of, you know, going into that, is I tell guys like when I'm like I'm on Bumble and some other dating sites and stuff. And when a guy's asking me questions, I feel like why I don't have no reason to hide or lie or about anything. And so I've had some women tell me, girl, you telling too much. And I'm like, but why? I'm not going, look, I'm overweight. You know, according to body standards or whatever, I'm overweight. I got this situation going. I got that situation going. So I feel like you should know going into this, like if I want to keep going with this, or be like, oh, okay, well, girl, that's fine. I'm like, okay, well, we can continue the conversation. So what's going on, you know? But I just feel like I'm not going to sit here and try to like be something that I'm not, or act like I don't have this going on, or I'm, you know, being this fake person. And then because then when I show up for a date and you're like, well, this was not what I expected, you know, when we were talking online, I was like, oh, well, I was hiding that. Sorry, this is the real me. You know, I just feel like you just need to be upfront and honest, and not try to hide behind those things, or like, you know, well, this is me on social media, or this is me on the internet, but then the real me is something totally different. Like, I feel like you're just being fake.
Yeah, because see, you know, my best friend, she gets...
Overweight sounds different than pushing for the pushing. Like, you gotta describe it different, Michelle.
Well, I don't
like on a resume, you don't say, you make it more eloquent. You
I
don't
don't
say,
say well, I'm eloquent. I just say I'm a little thick in certain areas.
nice. That's good. Okay,
You know?
just don't
Yeah. She's like, yeah, that's it.
I'm a little fluffy.
But
I'm
look,
happy than a mug.
but look, I mean, it's plain and simple, because my bestie says I tell too much. But I'm like, she's like, you always put yourself all out there. And I'm like, well, it's either all in or you out.
I feel like a love connection.
She needs
hey, okay, just kidding.
But look, straight up, I feel like that we all sit here and we're saying, okay, we love hard, we do this, we do that, and we do. We love hard for a reason, because at the end of the day, life is too doggone short to be sitting up here talking about, well, they don't meet every requirement. You know, on my checklist, I have 5 things that you have to meet. If you don't meet them, then we ain't talking. Then you're like, well, then you settle for the trash that I was talking about earlier. You bring that up, and you're like, okay, well, this trash ain't treating me too well. And this person, like, calls me, texts me, checks on me all the time. Which one are you going to go with? You know, you're not going to go with what you're used to. You're going to try, and people are afraid of what's new. They don't ever want to try nothing different.
I think it's because you don't want to compromise. And so, like, my 5 things might not be no superficial things. Like mine might be integrity, honor, right? ability to overcome. Like, do you crumble at the first sign of,
The red flags.
adversity? That too. But there, there's certain things that that I got that I'm like, yo, if he's not good on that, like it's not gonna fly. There's that too. But you are right. Like, it does seem like, it really trips me out, the guys that have the gall to get at me. Like, I'll be like, why do you feel like... No, I'm serious. There are guys, if you look in my inbox, you'll be like, he really thought he could shoot his shot, huh? Like, it's weird. But the guys know, like, the guys that I might be like, like, I might give him an opportunity. Rarely, like take that road. Does that make any sense? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I know exactly
So,
what you're
like,
talking about.
it'll be like a guy who's, like, coming through the door like, oh, Sailor! And he'll shoot his shot, but then, like, I'm like, it's a decent guy who's kind and sweet, and he looks good, and this and that. He'll be like, I'll see him out, and that's how, but it won't be like, hey, like that. Rarely, sometimes, but not as much as the other guy who's like, rah!
Okay.
Yeah. And then those are the ones that say, oh, you too picky.
Really? Yeah.
That's deep.
Or, oh gosh, yeah. No.
Or they're too fearful to speak up.
I don't know.
I think like the internet is giving people a place to hide, really. So that could be like
That's their go-to place.
the internet is great, but also it's like I've heard people say that the internet is like the worst and best thing ever created.
For real.
Yeah, because
So
it ruins.
true.
It can either make a relationship or it can
Or
break
you
it
break it.
quick.
So all of y'all are saying, like, you're saying, like, you give, and then they might, like, ghost. And you're saying that, like, you put in your shot and it's not progressing. I really have this theory that good people in the dating scene, like, basically narcissists and evil people are winning in this generation.
They actually have already. They hold up the championship belt every day.
Every day.
Because
For real,
at the
for
end
real,
of the
like,
day,
narcissists are winning.
like I've seen it. I've seen lazy motherfuckers have great women, and they don't do nothing. They can sit on their ass all day. Not clean, not cook, not nothing, while their girlfriend's at work. And I see the girl complaining, but I'm like, what you doing about it? Are you gonna stick around? Then it's okay. It must be okay if you're sticking by him. You want to be with that lazy mother, and then be with him, and shut up and stop putting it on social media.
Right.
Because as soon as you put it on social media, you got everybody in your business, and that's part of the problem in relationships. When you're in a relationship, and then y'all have a disagreement, y'all have a problem, they said something you don't like, what's the first thing you do? You're posting it, saying you're mad or you're upset. And then you like, y'all ladies tell me, or somebody tell me, this nigga over here doing this and he over here doing this. Okay, and then when somebody gives you their opinion, they put their 2 cents in your post, you mad. Talking about, you don't know what you talking about. Well, it's right here.
Yeah.
You asked the question.
You asked the question,
Yeah.
and I'm going to tell you. And if you don't like it, oh, well, I'm sorry. You can unfriend me. I'm fine with that. There's 50 million people that I can be friends with. So, you can either, like I said, you can either love hard and be all in.
People think
stay
that I
out of
be
that.
going through stuff, but really, like, for me, what happens is that God lets me, like, touch certain things. Like, I sample it. And then I know what I don't want to say the average Joe is going through. Like, I'm like, okay, if this kind of rubbed me hard, I can't imagine what it's doing to
Somebody
the mere
else.
mortal. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? The mere mortal. But what I'm saying, I
there are mortals over
recognize
here?
that. Like, no, I recognize that. Like, I'm like, ooh, wow, that hurts. So I can't imagine what this would do to another woman's self-esteem. Especially because I talk to a lot of women, and I'm like, oh, okay. And a lot of times, guys that come at me, my problem is, they will promise me the sun, the moon, and the stars and everything in it, right? And then won't come through on basic etiquette, like normal, like common sense.
Okay, so
ABC
then my
1, 2,
question
3.
to you is, what if it does?
If they do keep,
What if their actions meet everything, or their actions are speaking louder than their words?
so that's phase 1. And then I'm like, oh wow, look at that! Would you look at that? But
Like,
honestly,
okay.
there's not. they will promise everything. Like, if you were my girlfriend, and oh word, and then it's like out of sight, out of mind, right? It's
Because-
like I promise you everything in the world.
Because a lot of women have heard that. They've heard every promise and everything. So if a man approaches a woman now, you got to come with a whole nother. It's got to be.
game.
It's got to be something totally different. It can't be nothing that you know, heard. Some people be trying to spit the little lyrics from a song to you, and they'll be like, "Yep, da 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 da," and yeah, she's gonna fall in love with me today. I got it.
Some don't even spit the lyrics; they just play the song for you.
Yeah.
Just play the song
that's
for
easy
you.
too.
Oh,
That's
hey,
easy too.
Got him.
Be like, hey, that's easy too.
I didn't even say I love you. R. Kelly said he loved you.
No,
I
that's
don't know
not,
about these
that's
days.
not love.
I call that these days.
Well, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's
The
not love.
song-
That's
The
not love.
song will tell you what you want to hear, and the next thing you know, you're in love, and he hasn't said one word to you. So, yeah, another thing to watch out for, ladies. That's real. You don't know how many people I know. Like, they shoot their own love gun at themselves. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, so it's really, I have this firm belief that the people that are winning in this hour are the people that only think about themselves, only want to get what they want and get gone. So they're winning in this hour.
That's
like
true.
Cheers
Yeah.
to y'all.
I feel like I have to be ratchet just to get some attention. I'm just like, I'm just trying to be a normal, decent human being. I mean, it's bad when my own dad is like, I mean, are you talking to anybody? And I'm like, Dad, I'm trying to give you some grandkids, but ain't nobody. Because even it's bad when my parents are now at the point where they're just like, well, I guess we ain't gonna have no grandkids or nothing. And I'm like, I tried. But all the ones that keep coming aren't worth the time. And I keep thinking, if I have children with you, Jesus, I hope they get all my good stuff. I don't want, So it's just, I'm like,
Can't just get with a warm body.
just can't get,
just to put 'em right there.
or you have the men in my situation, I don't have children. So then you get the men who already have kids, and they're like, I don't want any more kids. And I'm like, well, I haven't had my chance yet. Let me get one, you know?
I think the
Or-
only reason why they don't want to do that is because a lot of them, if they're stuck with like deadbeat baby mamas, they like, well, shoot, I don't want another one of them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't want that situation again. So the next person I want to have a kid with, because I'm in that situation. Like, I have a kid. He's everything to me. You know what I'm saying? But you know, if a woman asks me, hey, you want more kids? I'd be like, I'm the type of person, I'm gonna just lay it flat on the table. I wouldn't mind. You know, but if you already have kids, then shoot, your kids, now mine. Because now we're in a relationship, we're a team, and I'm gonna treat them the same way I treat my son.
Those are beautiful.
Call it a day. But if she wants kids and she don't have a kid, then it's like, okay, you know, we can work on that. You know what I'm saying? We can work on that, and not just work on that, but work on, you know, building together. You know what I'm saying? Here I am, I got my kid already, so until we establish that part, you know what I'm saying? I want to make her my wife. I want to give her my last name before we have a kid, and, you know, we make that connection too. You know, that's the whole gist of being in a relationship. So that way, you have a clear understanding of where you're going in that relationship.
Yeah.
Period.
And then that goes back to the whole, what we were talking about, the list thing, because like, that was one of the things on my list was like, I didn't want to be anybody that has kids. Reason for that being is, and they think, well, you just, I'm like, no, it's not that. Is that I actually dated somebody who had a kid and the kid died.
Oh my goodness.
And I was very attached to that kid. And so I'm just like, I can't, and I'm like, I love children. So that was like a big hole that just ripped out of me, you know? And so I'm like getting into, so I can't imagine going through that again, maybe the kid not die, but then like the relationship doesn't work out. So now I get attached to this child and now I don't get to see the kid again because the relationship didn't work and they're gone. And then that child has another mother, and what if the mother's like, well, I don't want you seeing my kid because you ain't with him no more. You know, you just never know.
Yeah.
So I don't want to put myself out there to get hurt by that again because I love kids,
You got
know?
some bitter people too that will do that.
Yeah. And I'm
They
just
be like, I don't want to see you with nobody else. You got women that do that to the dude. You got dudes that do that to the woman. Like, if I can't have you, they can't have you.
yeah,
either.
and I've had that happen too where there was like, well, I don't want you with nobody else, so if you going to be with her, then you can't see your kid. And I'm like, your
That's
kid
trash.
comes first,
That's
so
not.
I'm like, go handle that. Your kid comes first. I come second. If she's being like that, then you handle that. I'll either wait or we just part ways. Like, I'm not going to have you not seeing your kid because of me. Like,
Well, so yeah, there's a lot. So here's the thing. So being lonely, going back to what we were talking about you can be in a relationship or you could be with someone and you're giving all your love to them and giving all your attention and doggone it, it is not enough. And they still feel alone in this world or even ourselves, like if we're not going to be in a romantic relationship, what's the source? So I firmly believe that to whom much has been given, like the people, seriously gifted people or seriously anointed people or people who really, really got something to do, they're going to feel alone. Like, they're really going to feel alone. I see it all throughout principles and, you know, that you see in life and people that have done tremendous things. There's this solitude thing that happens because they need to get something done. Something needs to go down, right?
Yeah.
And so, you know, I feel like being alone is a part of the process, actually. And so while you're not getting your booty waxed, you got to come up with a solution, right? And beyond that, when you get your booty waxed, you're going to still need to get it from the source, seriously. Because there's going to be times that they're on and there's times that they're off. You know, some people, no, seriously, there might be times that he got to go to work, you know, or he's not feeling you, y'all had a fight and you just don't know about life. And now what, you know? So it's very important for us to feel like although we are alone, does not necessarily mean that we have to be lonely. Alone, all one, you know? So what does that look like? Like when you feel that loneliness, like you said that you feel sometimes, like I feel lonely sometimes. What is it that you do to fill that spot for yourself?
Right now, I work out. And that's only because I have goals for myself physically that I'm looking to achieve. And then to, you know, I've immersed myself into the fitness industry. And so now I'm looking to become certified as a personal trainer. So even if I'm not pursuing this with my current company, at least I can still have something to do outside of this, you know, and have something to fall back on if my job doesn't work out. But that's basically what I do. If it's not that, then it's just going to the movies by myself or playing video games, you know, my Xbox or, you know, something. Or I get my goddaughter and I go take her to go do something. Or I just go for a drive by myself and I use that time to just, this is my me time, to just think through things and get a better perspective on life or whatever. And it's my time to talk to God because I feel like sometimes I do fill myself up with so much stuff that I don't give myself enough time to slow down. And maybe God's trying to talk to me. I'm just like, well, not right now, God. I got to do this, you know. And God's like, okay, I ain't going to wait here forever, you know. So I got to be like, okay, let me slow down and let me give God his time. So that's what I fill it up with.
Okay. Well, and I think it might be your son, but what do you feel, if you feel alone, like, what do you do to...
Well, like lately, like I've been trying to do more like stuff like outside of just being with my son. Like I try to go out with like walk my dog a lot. Usually, like I walk her at night usually because I'm more of like a night owl person. But I'm just kind of like probably like led to like maybe like me being like a insomniac maybe a little bit. Cause I stay up late like a lot of times. Are kind of I think it's like overall like hurting me a little bit. But like also I work at night, so usually I'm always like stay up late anyways. But yeah, usually I try to spend my time with usually like walking my dog or listen to like other podcasts or I always try to have like something always like have my brain always on usually. But it, or I tried to like challenge myself with trying to like draw something for the whole month of April. But I made it like 15 days straight, which was a pretty good thing like for me because I'm always like being creative, and actually I went to school for drawing for art, and I was trying to get into like the like video game industry.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's your outlet is drawing and.
Yeah, I'm trying to be like creative or
Creative outlet is huge. Yeah.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
And I feel like my drawings came out like pretty good for the most part, and like surprised myself sometimes. But that's something that I try to do. I always try to be just stay active or stay busy. So not just like sitting there doing like absolutely nothing.
And dwelling on it, like
Yeah.
I can sometimes do. Go ahead. What do you do when you're feeling alone or lonely?
Well, for me, I enjoy karaoke. So, my uncle, he's like a celebrity over there at Common Interest. So, I'm either there singing with him, or I get into writing. I get to writing my poetry, or I'll get to writing little quotes that pop in my head or I think about, and I get to post. And you probably seen like probably 90 or 20, 30 of them things a day. But, that and... I'm a real R&B listener, so I'm listening to my slow jams all night until, it just eases my mind. Or I'm up watching, late night TV like Jamie Foxx show or something like that, just to kind of just take my mind off of everything. You know what I'm saying? Because I can't. When you don't have that person to call, that can open up a lot of, okay, well maybe I just need to go take a drive. Because I have spots that I go sit at, and I just, I got my whole view of downtown Austin. Boom, I'm good, and I can sit there all day. And those are just things that I just love doing. Music is in me, poetry and writing is in me. I just love doing those things, and sometimes I get in my way, and I'll take that drive. I just sit there and I just think, and I pray, and I just keep knowing that I'm a push, and everything's gonna work out the way.
So for me, I have like two different things. One is sometimes like I really need to feel connected. Like I really need to feel connected, and I do that through prayer, meditation, or hide myself. Sometimes I feel like I need to hide myself, and for me, it's almost like they say the shadow of the Most High. I literally feel myself like tucked away in spirit under the shadow of the Most High. But there's also this other thing is that sometimes I need to hear, faith comes by hearing, something telling me a message, something, I play something to feed me and say, you're on the right track, you're doing the right thing, keep moving your feet. Like, this is all for a purpose, this is all for a reason. I'm not going to let you down, I got you. Because if I want to be real, like, and that's something real quickly, we're almost closing, but I want us to touch on is that, is it something that you have to work for to happen? Or is it ordained? Because for me, everything that's ever happened, whether it's Meeting of the Minds or the East by Southeast Spoken Word Showcase, everything that has been a huge milestone in my life, there was the element of just add water, just add God. Like it had to be like, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Even to getting me here to come, an inkling to ask Charles, pressing on the spirit, even the steps that followed up to coming and talking with him. And so sometimes I really wonder, like some people think, you got to get out there, girl, and sometimes I'm like, I'm not so sure. What do y'all think about that real quick? I want to know about that.
I think you just have to have positive thoughts about everything that you do. So you doing Meeting of the Minds, that's a blessing, because that gives everybody the chance to say, okay, this is what it is, and they're not being penalized for what they're saying. They're allowed to say this is what it is, and you're gonna have people disagree. You know what I'm saying? You have to agree to disagree sometimes, and that's just life. But this is your blessing. So we all have different gifts, and that's God's gift to you. So you have to be accepting of it within self.
Right.
That's just like with loneliness, you have to love self first. You know what I'm saying? Take yourself out on a date. Take yourself to the movies. You don't need to necessarily have somebody with you. It's great, but take yourself to the movie. Take yourself out to eat.
It's weird for me. The
It's
movie
all those
thing,
things.
I could go out to eat by myself because I get hungry. But
I mean,
I'm not
necessity.
talking about going to the drive-thru.
That's so fun.
I really like shrimp. Actually, I haven't eaten meat in a while, but when I did, I really would love to go to Papa Do's and get the happy hour shrimp.
Yeah, boy.
Don't treat yourself.
And there would be no one to go with, so I would go with myself. But I've done that. I don't know. Movies is just really strange for me. I don't know why.
Movies is easy.
It's hard for me to even watch a movie by myself, let alone at home, let alone like.
Well, now you got Starseed. You can do that. You good.
I used to.
No, I do. I went to go see Aladdin. I was more turned up than she was.
Shoot, I saw that movie twice in the week.
I have 17 years.
I was singing all the songs, and my goddaughter was like, "You're a magician." She thought, like, how do you know
like,
these
oh,
songs?
yeah.
She didn't know.
Like, yep, I have.
The
Yep.
Lord gave it to me.
So last question, and I need to know: are you supposed to go? Like, maybe are we supposed to seek it? Maybe men are supposed to seek it, or really, what? When a man finds a good thing, are you supposed to put yourself
That's
out
the thing
there?
I want to know. I want to know because I feel like I feel like I've done everything I can do, and I can't do anymore. I'm just like I can't keep, like I keep putting myself out there. I'm just like, okay, it's gonna come any minute now. And then they're just like, hey girl, what's up? I'm like, hey, how are you? And I don't like, oh hey, like I'm starving for attention. Please look at me. But they just kind of like, eh.
So
and
like, yeah.
So I don't know.
I need to know.
Yeah, girl. It's
On the
rough.
right hand, I know for a fact that in my life, God has been a part of every monumental turn. I know that. It just add water. But on the left hand, Sister Myrtle's 70 and still waiting on her man to come from the Lord.
Girl,
I mean, at the
I
end,
told
I need to know.
I told her,
I
I was like,
think
I'm
your
gonna
time
cut
has
it
passed
off
on
at 40. I got 5 years. If it don't happen by then, I'm just like, I'm okay. I'm gonna be a Nazarite woman. I'm just gonna be
It's all about taking
dedicated
chances.
to the Lord.
It's all about taking chances and not being afraid to take those chances.
Yeah.
You know, we all get a little afraid because we're like, hopefully this does not, go bad. You know, we're always thinking the negative every time something good comes and, it shows its face. You know, and I say this to a lot of my friends all the time. God's going to show you him or her, and you just have to be ready to receive it. And if you're not ready to receive it, then that's okay, but your time is going to come.
Do you think that he shows him or her first to him? Because there's a lot of talk like around that.
Sometimes, even for me, like I can be sitting in church listening to Bishop and, something to just say, look up. And you look up and
shorty walking right by.
Some person walking right by you, but but at the end of the day, the negative comes. Because you're like, well, she's nice looking, but don't think that's the right one. You get that doubt. It's always a sheer doubt because we're always being, it's like, well, dang, are we even the right one for them? If I shoot my shot, and because we're all afraid of rejection. That's
Maybe it's just for you to hang out with her because she's gonna help you, because that's another thing. We think that when we date that they gotta be the one, and necessarily, y'all just gonna go watch that movie together.
It's courting versus dating.
Yeah.
Whereas courting, there's accountability, there's purpose, and whereas in dating, you're just going on another date over and over and over again, and there's no accountability, there's no purpose in what you're doing because you're just going on another date. You're not talking about marriage. You're not talking about none of those things. And that's what it should be. It should be courting over dating at all times because
that's good. And sorry.
No, you're fine. But it should be courting over dating because with courting, like I said, there's a purpose. You're talking about marriage and when it comes to courting. Dating, we can do that all day. You can date somebody till you're blue in the face, and then, then when you're thinking, okay, where does marriage come into that? If that person never one time mentions marriage to you, don't expect it to happen overnight. Don't expect it to happen pretty much at all because he's just gonna be like, okay, well, we dating, chill out, But, that's little boy speaking. So, if you're wanting a relationship, I suggest to any man, court the woman. Don't date the woman. If you're courting her, call her at the oddest times in the day. Send her that text message, send her roses, do edible arrangements, do whatever it is you have to do to court that woman. Because I promise you, the little things are what matter. And some people don't think that. But, I know everybody thinks, well, I got to get them this big extravagant diamond ring or this big extravagant gift for them to like me. No, you don't. You know what I'm saying? Just a simple phone call saying, hey, I'm just thinking about you.
And if they don't, they
Period.
don't like you. I want you to know it. I really want you to know. Like, I'm serious. Like, ladies, I am telling you right now, if he likes you, he's on it to let you know. Believe me, he's not gonna let it slip. Like, when they like you, they like you. It's no, oh my bad, I forgot, or oh hey, no, it's not. It's not true. It's not true. Don't fall for the okie doke. I was busy. There's no such thing. I promise you. I know the difference between when a guy is really into me and when a guy is pretending that he's really into me. That's one thing. And another thing is, you know, sometimes we roll around and we're like, I'm so lonely, but we might really just be horny, to be honest with you.
Yeah, don't
You can
Don't
confuse
confuse the two.
You can't confuse the two
Because
because
the
maybe if
interest-
you got some, you'd be like, all right then.
Because sometimes the person's interest is a reflection of you. It's a reflection of how they really feel about you. So if they really digging you, then you'll notice. It won't just be a word thing. It'll be an action thing. And there'll be, you know, and sometimes, and I say this with all innocence real quick. You know what I'm saying? Some women are afraid of that because they feel like a man is coming on too strong if they're doing all those things.
Yeah.
So it can be a great thing for you because you're doing it.
Yeah.
And you're showing this woman, hey, you know, I'm just thinking about you. Here's 4 dozen roses. Just for no reason.
Yeah.
All those things, and the girl's like, this is a lot. This is too much, and they get scared.
Okay, so let me Dr. Phil you on that one. Okay?
Dr. Phil me, please.
How's the ghetto Dr. Phil? Okay.
I want to hurt it.
So if she acts like this is too much, she wasn't that into you as well. She don't like you like that.
There it goes.
Or, see, a lot of people come from broken families, a lot. And daddy didn't do that for mama. And so I only know what it feels like to chase after you. I don't know what it feels like. So, like, daddy wasn't there. I always had to fight for his attention. And so some women, like, you're too stable, or you, wait, hold on. I am comfortable trying to get your attention, not you giving it flat out. And I don't know. He's just too nice. So, hold on. Okay.
That is the main thing that's always said.
If she acts like that, you don't want her. That's the one that you don't want.
Mm-hmm.
The one that you being extra nice turns her off, let it turn her off. Because she's the one that needs to go work on how to love issues. But the one that has like a daddy that's been there and she knows what it means for a man to love her, she's going to eat that up if she likes you. Like, so if she's like, oh, he's so cute. Oh my God, I've been waiting for this forever.
She just
she's
flipped
gonna
her hair,
love
ladies and
it.
gentlemen.
But I want to touch on that real quick when you were talking about courting, and that was one thing that I had a discussion with an ex of mine because he was like, he didn't understand why this ex that I was with, we had more good times than bad, but the bad times was really bad. But I was still hung up on him, and he was like, well, I just don't understand why you want to be with him versus me, and you and me were engaged in this. And I'm like, he courted me, you know, like, and he wasn't trying to, because this guy that was asking the question, well, he's got money. This one over here did not. So he found different ways to make me happy to give, you know, do things like he sent me a poem, or he played Sade for me, you know, and he sent it whatever because I love Sade. And I was just like, I was like, oh
He
my
loved
God,
you, girl.
He loved you for real.
right? And then he took me to, I didn't know, because like I grew up very different, and so I didn't know, I don't come downtown or anything. I didn't know there was the Elephant Room and like listen to jazz, and I love jazz. And so we're going down. I'm like, where are we going? And I'm like, this place. He's like, oh, we're going down here. I'm like, looks like a hole in the wall. I do not want to go down here. And then it's like playing jazz, and I'm like,
So dope.
I'm like, oh my God, this is great. You
So
know,
dope.
versus the other guy, he feels like he's got to buy me this or he's got to do this. And I'm like, I don't want your money. I mean, thank you. I appreciate it. But you don't have to go all out just to make me feel like you love me. You know,
Yeah.
like I appreciate the little things. I like tacos. Baby, please buy me a taco.
I like talking.
You know? Taco. Okay? So, yeah, I was just like, so yeah, there's definitely a difference between dating and courting. This one was we always went out to eat. And that's how I got overweight. Or, I'm sorry, I got a little fluffy.
Fluffy.
Because all we did was go eat. And I'm like, I don't want to do just eat. I like other things. The other one, we went all over the place. We went hiking, we went fishing, we went paddleboarding.
That's real important to me.
We talked about our love language, so he found out what I like, I found out what he likes, and we did those things. We tried to cook together, all that kind of stuff. So yes, courting is different than dating, and that's the problem. And I feel like in this age is that people don't know how to court anymore. They just date and they feel like, I'm doing this, so you should be into me. And I'm like, no, there's more to me than that.
I just took you to Red Lobster. What you mean?
Yeah. And I'm like, I couldn't take myself to Red Lobster and eat some biscuits.
They do the bare minimum.
That's bad.
What do you expect? There's so many women that are giving up the booty over a Whataburger chicken sandwich.
She said,
So,
giving up
like,
the booty
no,
on a
I'm
chicken
saying,
sandwich.
like, he brought you a 2-piece and a biscuit, and that was good enough. So, like, guys don't really
So that's
know.
the difference
Like,
between being horny and lonely. They're just horny.
There you go.
They just wanted something.
Just wanted to wax the booty.
And that's it.
the other thing I want to say that's coming up on my radar to say is that this is so something that I don't want to say, but I feel it pressing on my heart. Hopefully, it will help somebody out. But it's transparent than a mug.
Well, here we go.
So I feel like there was a time when I was like a lot younger that I was really, really, really unsure of myself. And I really maybe didn't even, I don't want to say love myself. I was just unsure of myself. I didn't have a lot of maybe self-confidence or, self-esteem. And in those times, I remember that like all I wanted was like, I just want a boyfriend. I just want a boyfriend. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I just couldn't get a boyfriend, right?
Yeah.
But then something shifted inside of me. And now I'm like, I know who I am. I have self-confidence. I have self-esteem, right?
Knowing your worth.
And then all of a sudden, the thing flipped. Now I'm looking at them like, I don't know if I really like you now, right? Mm-hmm. Which is another level of loneliness because at first you're looking for nobody wants you. Not everybody wants you and you're still lonely. Not everybody, but you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. But you're still lonely. You're still lonely. But the moral of the story is that how you feel about yourself is very indicative about who's going to come into your zone. So I'm a firm believer when I started realizing who I am, people approached me completely different. I remember when I didn't know who I was, people would be like, hey, shorty, let me holler at you for a second. When I did know who I was, they're like, Sayla, I just want to let you know that I really like you. That's two different veins. Like, these are two different veins. I'm just being real. And so if you are attracting douchebags, for lack of better words, you got to assess also something about yourself as well, because I swear when you change your mind, like I look at the guys that I was attracted to when I was like a teenager and I'm like, what the heck was I thinking, right? But that type of guy would never approach me now. Like there's no way that like, he would never approach me, that type of guy anymore. But something changed in my thinking, right? So thinking, the way you think is very important. So I want to urge you about when you're feeling lonely or alone, that's a good thing. And what I'm trying to say is that why should anybody want to like spending time with you when you don't even like spending time with you? I'm just saying. Right?
That's deep. That's deep.
So, right. So when you can, I'm working on it. I'm letting you know right now, I don't got it mastered. I have my good days and I have my bad. Okay. Especially like I said, the closer we get to that, lady friend of the month, I get worse at it.
Eyes turn green.
Just watch the moon and be like, oh,
Yeah.
this is happening.
Yeah. So when you're alone, it should fulfill you, right? Mm-hmm. You should be like good with it. And if you're not, or even worse, if you've never been alone and you're jumping from relationship to relationship to relationship, even more of a big cue.
Know your worth first, please. Jesus Christ.
Please elaborate.
Okay, so real quick, we use these two phrases too often: thirsty and attention seeking. And so when a woman calls a man thirsty, but will sit here and have her breast out, ass out, shaking everything that mama gave her and stuff like that, you're going to get the attention that you don't want. You're going to get those thirsty comments, as you put it, those, calling that man thirsty. But don't don't do things to get the attention that you claim that you don't want.
Okay, that's gonna have to be for another episode. I have theories. No, because it's funny. Men of God say that, and the next thing you know is they got that same exact big booty, good looking. You know, so you say. I mean, they say that. I'll bring you back on for that episode because that's a whole nother topic. They say that.
I have a whole another take on that one. I have my.
We got 3 minutes for your information, but go ahead.
You can give it
3 minutes.
Yeah, you got.
I have the opposite end on that. I have
Work it.
being a black woman. Now that I no longer get my hair relaxed and I've gone natural, don't no black man want to talk to me.
You're fine in a mug, Nichelle. I don't know what the problem is.
I don't know where that came from,
my
but
hair was
wow.
relaxed and long.
Was I wrong? I mean,
They always try to
You're not
talk to me.
wrong.
But now that I have my fro, and I did it for health reasons for my scalp, don't nobody want to talk to me. White men want to talk to me.
I mean, damn, would they
Latino
rather
men
you
want to
be
talk to me. But I want to talk to a black dude just
Would
so
they rather
we
you
can
be
connect on
bald-headed?
a cultural level. They don't want to talk to me.
So I don't know if anybody's interested in anybody, but you might want to take a look. Okay, sorry.
Black now.
Selah is now doing the love connection.
Selah is doing the most is what she's doing.
I'm just kidding. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I know it might seem a little bit everywhere, but that's just what it was. And we kind of do things like organically as they come. And I have fun. I enjoyed myself.
I enjoyed myself too.
I hope that you did.
I'm gonna have
too.
to do it again sometime.
Yes, absolutely.
I actually look forward to it now.
I know, right?
Look, she's been trying to get me out here for like 6 months.
Seriously.
She's like, you think you can do it? I'm like, you gotta let me know ahead of time, like ahead of time.
And I'm notorious for I'm very spontaneous, very, very spontaneous. Well, hope you enjoyed watching Meeting of the Minds. Please feel free if you'd like to visit our website, which is www.meetingoftheminds.com, and Minds is spelled with a Z. There it is at the bottom of the screen. And so just that's about it. So I had some other things to say.
The brain turned off.
Yeah,
she was
it did.
She was like, and that is.
Well, I think they bought me sometimes. Thank you so much to Syntax Guns, the only black gun-owned store in Texas. And thank you for B-Print for making our website. And I also have another thing that I'm going to announce next time because I think we really pushed it for time for today. So thank you so much for watching. Till next time.
Intellectually engaging to think outside the lines with conversation about the nation that never leaves you blind. Take a listen and pay attention. Here is where you find the educational, sensational meeting